Hi guys, welcome to another review video. This is Nick from Domazet Gaming, and today we are looking at Dawn of War 3 from Relic Entertainment, which is exclusive to PC. Now this is a long-awaited sequel to a popular Dawn of War franchise, with first game coming out all the way back in 2006. Now this was a tough review for me in particular, as I'm a huge fan of the Warhammer 40k lore, games and books. So just a little disclaimer there. Let's see how it does Dawn of War 3 fare comparing to its predecessors. Up first we have story and setting. Now Dawn of War 3 takes place in a system where three factions, Elder, Space Marine and Orc, fight over an ancient Elder artifact, the Spear of Cain. That is a simple premise of the story. However, nothing is as it seems in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. And without spoiling too much here, things turn for worse with lots of betrayal and trickery. Now when it comes to heroes, we see familiar faces returning. Eldar are led by Farseer Maka, Orcs are led by the cunning warboss Gorgats, which is up to his usual mischief, and Space Marines, in which we see the return of the Blood Ravens chapter and the newly appointed chapter master, who is none other than Gabriel Angelos from the original Dawn of War game. Now the campaign is fairly lengthy, I must say there's 17 missions in total, and they are long. It took me about 24 hours to finish the whole campaign. Now when it comes to the structure, where things differ here is that you don't just play Space Marines in this campaign. Each mission you play with a different faction, so the story for all three races progresses and interacts with one another together at the same time, which I found to be just great. Now when it comes to the actual story, without spoiling too much here, it was okay. As a fan of Warhammer 40,000 and the books, this is where it's hard for me to be neutral, as there are a lot of great stories in this universe. And this one in particular was decent. It is not going to wow you by any means, but it was fun and intriguing, and especially if you played the previous title, it was nice to see where the heroes are now and how they progress many years later. Overall, the story was good, fun, and interactive in my opinion. Next, we have sound and voice. Now, this is something that does get overlooked at games, which I've said before, but in my opinion, it is vital to get that full immersion experience to have good sound and voice acting. Now, Dawn of War 3 does a decent job, this being a real-time strategy game after all. Audio is really great here. I really do appreciate getting notified when the enemies are attacking me, as sometimes with a big map and focusing on something else like the main objective or current battle, you forget to look back at your base or other structures, and the game saved my ass actually a couple of times here by telling me my resource point is being captured or my base is being attacked. It is a very small detail, but it's such a nice and welcome feature. When it comes to heroes, or elite as they're called in this game, I found the sound great when they're using their abilities. It does stand out big time when Gabriel swings his hammer around or hit it into the ground. You do get a very satisfying sound as the enemies fly around you. Now when it comes to voice acting also, it is really great here. I found the voice actors to have done a good job making the characters really believable. The self-righteous Gabriel or the tough British accent of Gorgats is really good. Overall, audio and voice are great. Not a lot to complain about here. And a lot more that you would get in any RTS games these days. They're just drawing you with constant text and reading with actually no voice acting. Now we get to everyone's favorite PC topic, graphics. Now in my opinion, this is where the game shines. If you played the old Dawn of War 1 and 2, this is a massive improvement, a reimagining almost of everything that the game had, and it just looks so much better. It does really look good. This is probably one of the best looking real-time strategy games out there. Even all the structures have like little animations, which is just great, and it really makes the game that much more special. Same comes to the units. They all look good and are definitely distinct between one another. All have their own designs and animations, and the best thing is you can definitely recognize what unit it is just by looking at it. You don't have to mouse over and see what unit it is, which a lot of these RTS games actually do. I mean, there's so many games that do this. Even a big AAA game like Destiny, who release a new faction enemy, which is just a reskin of the existing enemy type in the game. And I think it's about time companies get called out on this. It is really unacceptable in this day and age. Now you can't talk graphics without the stars of this game, which are elites or heroes, whatever you want to call them. And they're all big detailed units with different attacks, so all animated really well with some really great animation And it's those little details in this game that really make the game special, as I said. You can see there's been real love put into this game. Overall, this is probably one of the best looking RTS games out there. To the main event we go, which is gameplay. What Dawn of War 3 does, it tries to go back to its roots, to the first Dawn of War games, with building structures and creating big armies to lead into battle. Now the max population is quite large, and you can really go big here, which I found is a nice little throwback. Now to purchase these units, you capture resource points, on which you build power and requisition generators, which is your currency in the game. Now for the fans of Dawn of War 2, which was great in my opinion, but that did not feel like, an RTS game. It felt more like an RPG. And for the fans of the classic RTS games, I think Dawn of War 3 is a better bet. And if you prefer the gameplay of Dawn of War 2, well, that's completely gone here. Now, one issue I've found, though, is that even though you can create really big armies, the units do feel kinda underpowered comparing to the elites. Now, some might not like this. However, I personally absolutely love that the focus has been shifted to these units. They are exciting with great design and abilities and can change the course of a game. And that's what I feel like Warhammer 40,000 is all about, about these great heroes of legend. What is also great here is that each faction felt very different. All have different special abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. For example, Elder vehicles cannot compare with Space Marine ones, but all the units have shields you have to burn through first to start exposing the actual hull. This kind of stuff really gives you a completely different feel when you're switching between factions. Now, Orcs here in particular are a standout with scrap. Now, they can upgrade the units by collecting scraps from the battlefield and also create vehicle units from scrap for much cheaper, which is such a cool feature. Now, unfortunately, there's just not enough of that. I wish there was more of it, of this kind of stuff for, each faction. And I think, the issue is here that a lot of strategy and detail has been pulled away from units to elites. That's where the bulk of customization happens. Each elite brings different abilities and strategies to your army. You can also level them and improve them. And you can select up to 3 for a match or a multiplayer match. Couple that together with 3 army doctrines before a match, which are like little army boosts you can select. For example, units can heal at listening posts, or your tactical space marines can throw grenades. Now, a lot of people, as I said, might not like this. It almost feels like a MOBA esporty vibe, and that's okay. It really is not for everybody. For me in particular, as I mentioned before, I absolutely loved it. And as much as elites are great, I do feel like by adding gear, you could potentially earn through matches, made this even better. This is where the problem kind of lies with this overall gameplay in this game. Almost feels like Relic was not sure what to do in some multiplayer matches. I almost felt like I'm playing a MOBA because of a heavy focus on elites, but I still have units and buildings to build. It's a strange mix, and I completely understand why some people will not like this. And I've played quite a bit of multiplayer in this game, and I usually, to be fair with you guys, I don't really enjoy multiplayer that much. But in here, I totally sit hours and hours in multiplayer, and I would totally actually play a MOBA that is set in Warhammer universe, even though I really don't enjoy MOBAs. But maybe that's just a fanboy in me speaking when it comes to Warhammer. Overall, gameplay is a mixed bag. I think some people will like it, some people will hate it. Overall, Dawn of War 3 will not be everyone's cup of tea, which I completely understand. It's not a classic RTS Dawn of War or the RPG Dawn of War 2 that people fell in love with. It's something new, like a hybrid. In my opinion, if you're a Warhammer 40,000 fan, I think this is a must play. It has new lore and returning characters from previous games that you will definitely appreciate. Now, I'm not a huge multiplayer fan, as I said previously, but I absolutely love the multiplayer in this game. It's fun, fast-paced, and aggressive with a heavy focus on your heroes and their ability. And as I said previously, I wish there was a gear system on top of it. I think we would have given the game even more depth. To all you other players who are not huge fans of Warhammer, I guess it will be up to you if the gameplay mentioned in this review seems appealing to you personally. Unfortunately, there will be no expansions for this game, which is sad because I would have loved to see more faction and expansions to the story. as the game did not meet its targets. So, is this worth playing today in 2020? In my opinion, if you get a good deal on it, absolutely. Especially if you're a Warhammer fan. Well, that's it, guys, for this review. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe as we post new videos weekly. See you in the next one.